Gallic gun! Oh no! If I knew this was going to happen, I would have eaten more pizza and ice cream!
Anime is everywhere, to the extent that it's part of the pop culture zeitgeist. It fills theaters, inspires music videos and fashion lines, and fuels online fandoms that stretch across the globe. But anime's journey to cultural dominance in America wasn't sudden. It was a long, winding path that spanned decades. But how did we get here? Welcome to WatchMojo, and in this video, we're going through a brief history as to the meteoric rise of Japanese animation, how it made a name for itself in the United States, and ultimately became a beloved staple of media and entertainment as a whole.
Does Samuel L. Jackson like anime?
Yes, I do.
Part 1. Origins, a cult obsession. While anime itself can be traced as far back as 1917 with short features such as The Dull Sword, aka Namakura Katana, and was already making waves all through the 60s, these were very much relegated to Japan itself.
I've got you and you got me, and just between the two of us.
As far as Western audiences go, the first trickle of anime appreciation wasn't felt until the 70s, kicked off by the arrival of a certain robot boy.
There you go, Astro Boy, on your flight into space, rocking high through the sky, more adventures soon you will make.
While yet to announce itself as a distinct medium, shows like Astro Boy, Speed Racer, and Voltron were pioneers in their day. To most viewers, these weren't Japanese cartoons. They were just cartoons, with catchy theme songs and fast-paced action that stood out compared to Hanna-Barbera reruns, despite the choppy edits and hefty dose of dubbing.
He's going over that cliff!
Still, exposure was limited. Networks treated these imports as novelty programming, often airing them in odd time slots. For most kids, anime was something you stumbled across by accident, not a movement you joined, a trend that would continue for most through the preceding decade.
Ooh, wow! I can look right down into the monster's feeding pit, and he's eating up a storm!
Which brings us to the 80s, where a different kind of fandom began to grow. Fans who wanted more than what was available on TV sought out anime that never made it overseas. This sparked the rise of VHS trading clubs, small dedicated groups who copied tapes, mailed them across the country, and even produced early fan subs, homegrown subtitles painstakingly added with primitive editing equipment.
You got a VHS.
Huh?
It won't play beta.
Huh?
It was a labor of love. Many of these fans were meeting in college clubs or the basements of hotels hosting tiny conventions. These gatherings weren't the massive expos we know today. They were often a few dozen people in a rented room, watching grainy recordings of shows like Mobile Suit Gundam or Urusei Yatsura. Titles that, while adopting the kid-friendly veneer animation was known for, brought with it a sense of grit either through the fighting, mature storylines, or far more relaxed take towards spicier subject matters. But for all their passion, anime fans in America faced a cultural wall. The belief that animation was inherently for children.
Let me introduce myself. The name's Angel, but don't let that fool you. I can be a bitch when I want to.
In the US, the medium was tightly associated with Saturday morning cartoons, toy commercials, and family-friendly content. The idea that animated stories could tackle complex themes and stand akin to cinematic artistry was alien to most audiences. This meant any enthusiasm for anime was often seen as odd at best and fringe behavior at worst. Parents and peers didn't always understand why someone would obsess over foreign cartoons. especially ones with violence, sexuality, or sprawling arcs that didn't fit neatly into American expectations.
そんなもので私たちがやられると思って
Yet, it was precisely because of these barriers that early anime fandom became so resilient. With so little mainstream support, anime enthusiasts formed bonds that were as much about community as about the shows themselves. To be an anime fan in the 80s and early 90s wasn't just a hobby, it was a subcultural identity. This loyalty kept anime alive in the West.
What is it about Japanese animation that fascinates fans?
For me, I think it's just the sheer variety of material, the depth of stories, everything from the most innocent sort of childhood stories to really incredible over-the-top adult animation, the kind of stories that you're only going to see animated in Japan.
Laying the foundation for the explosion of popularity that would be arriving far sooner than anyone could have expected. Without the tape traders, the fan subbers, and the basement conventions, anime might never have broken into the mainstream at all.
I was very surprised that my artwork would be this popular in the United States. And from now on, I believe I'll have to not only think about Japan internally, but think about the international market.
Part 2. The Breakthrough, Cracking the Mainstream. In 1998, a little yellow electric mouse changed everything.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause.
Pokémon wasn't the first anime to hit American airwaves, but it was the first one to become a full-blown phenomenon.
Oh, hi, Pikachu! Pika.
The franchise wasn't just a TV show, it was video games, trading cards, toys, and a cultural boom that swept through the schools like wildfire. For a generation of kids, Pokémon was the gateway substance that normalized anime. It blurred the line between Japanese cartoon and global franchise.
Squirtle.
Even parents who might have dismissed anime suddenly found themselves buying Game Boys and booster packs for their kids. Pokémon was by all accounts one of the first true glimmers that anime could be both foreign and familiar, different but accessible.
Where can you catch all 150 Pokémon? On your Game Boy, that's where. Pokémon for Game Boy is here. With both packs, you can catch them all. Games and systems sold separately.
Around the same time, Cartoon Network launched Toonami, a programming block that became a lifeline for young fans hungry for more of these foreign yet fascinating animated shows. Toonami introduced foundational anime to an entire generation. Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Gundam Wing, and even Naruto down the line. Series that had scope, drama, and serialized storytelling unlike anything else airing on American TV at the time. For many, Toonami was the place where casual viewers became lifelong fans. Its funky aura, futuristic branding, and late afternoon slots made anime feel like a shared event, not just a niche hobby. As those kids grew older, Adult Swim picked up the baton. Shows like Cowboy Bebop, Inuyasha, and Fooly Cooly aired late at night due to their more mature flavor, giving anime a new reputation, stylish, edgy, and undeniably cool, showcasing just how flexible anime could be. And it was just getting started.
Bang.
Meanwhile, another quiet revolution was happening in bookstores. Manga, often published in digest-sized volumes, became a staple of teen reading in the 2000s. Chains like Barnes & Noble and Borders had entire shelves dedicated to manga, letting fans binge stories at a fraction of the cost of importing VHS tapes or DVDs. For many teens, manga was the first real introduction to Japanese storytelling outside of TV. It was portable, affordable, and came in a dizzying variety of genres: romance, horror, comedy, sci-fi, making it easy to find something that felt personal, not to mention exposing newcomers to just how wild mangaka could be in not only their approach to plots, but also in their artwork. With anime and manga going from a drop in the bucket to a cascading river, meetups between fans also underwent a dramatic transformation. What started as a handful of die-hard followers shooting the breeze in a basement expanded to massive gatherings. Anime Expo, Otakon, and other major conventions became annual pilgrimages for fans, drawing thousands of attendees. Cosplay, once a fleeting practice of dressing as your favorite anime character, became mainstream, filling convention halls with homemade armor, wigs, and giant foam props. These events weren't just about watching anime, they were about living it. It wasn't long before fans could meet their favorite voice actors, shop for imported merchandise, and, most importantly, feel part of a community much larger than their local friend group.
Hey, it's Voltron, what's up?
What's going on?
That's not to say anime had taken over the West yet. Even as the web of collective and individual fandoms grew at breakneck speed, it still carried a stigma. For every kid proudly rocking a Naruto headband, there was another being teased for liking Japanese cartoons. Nerd! Anime was no longer invisible, but it wasn't entirely accepted either. It was nerdy, but proudly so.
It's going to rain today.
By the end of the 2000s, anime was no longer fringe.
I was supposed to die that night. You're the one who resurrected me, Doctor.
It had a foothold in pop culture, a booming convention scene, a steady flow of manga, and a generation raised on Toonami. The stage was set for the 2010s, when anime would stop being the weird thing some kids watched and start becoming an undeniable global force.
僕は日本一と言ってもいいくらいの真面目な優等生だよ。そして僕は新世界の神となる。
Part 3: The Streaming Revolution, a new anime era. For years, being an anime fan in the States meant overcoming all manner of hurdles, waiting for DVDs, relying on sketchy downloads, or tracking down fan-subbed VHS tapes. But platforms like Crunchyroll and Funimation changed everything. Suddenly, fans could stream anime legally with subtitles within hours of episodes airing in Japan. This was revolutionary.
無慈悲の方向である。
Anime wasn't just trickling overseas anymore. It was crossing the ocean instantly. What had once required persistence and patience was now as easy as clicking play. Then the giants got involved, while dedicated fans were further exploring a wider reach of anime on Crunchyroll. Streaming juggernauts such as Netflix and Hulu brought anime to everyone else. With titles like Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, and even Netflix's own original productions further down the line, anime was no longer something you had to seek out. It was right there next to prestige dramas and Hollywood blockbusters. This accessibility helped normalize anime for mainstream audiences worldwide, putting the final nail in the coffin for the well-worn and outdated argument that this was still just for kids. Now it was a medium unto itself.
これは鳩ですか?
Huh? Hato?
It's worth noting that anime's global spread in the early 2000s was fueled heavily by piracy. Torrent sites, fan subs, and forums that distributed content long before it was officially available.
俺は海賊王になる。
But as streaming platforms expanded, many fans shifted from piracy to legitimate services. That shift signaled a maturing fandom, one that wanted to support creators and keep the industry thriving.
ここが世界で一番偉大な海。グランドラインか。
Speaking of thriving, as its popularity continued to spike, the internet became the new convention hall for anime fandoms. First on forums and YouTube with AMVs, and later on social media with memes, fan arts, and TikTok edits that could push a series to viral status overnight. And that's to say nothing of the cosplay culture boom, conventions expanding into six-figure attendance, and YouTubers and streamers making anime analysis and reaction content widely popular. With so much saturation across so many outlets, it's no surprise that anime aesthetics seeped into the broader landscape. Streetwear brands borrowed its visuals, pop stars referenced it in music videos, and social platforms turned anime avatars into a common sight. Anime was no longer finding its footing in America, it was helping define American pop culture itself. Part 4. Global Domination. Anime on top. Here we are in the modern day, and needless to say, anime has taken over, or at the very least has become so synonymous with modern entertainment that it now sits comfortably in the ever-increasing epicenter. This extends all the way to cinema itself. A decade earlier, anime films in US theaters were rare, often limited to one-night screenings for hardcore fans. Though sure, Studio Ghibli might have been a force unto itself, but when it comes to comparing the hype for a feature such as When Marnie Was There up against the likes of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train, the difference is night and day. How much so? The aforementioned Mugen Train wasn't just a hit, it topped charts, becoming the highest grossing film in Japanese history and broke into the top US box office rankings in 2021, competing directly with and even overshadowing several Hollywood blockbusters.
立派にできましたよ。
American music has also fully embraced anime's influence. Hip-hop, pop, and even indie artists openly reference anime in lyrics, music videos, and public interviews. Never thought we'd see the day where we have Megan Thee Stallion cosplaying and rapping about all things Jujutsu Kaisen, but here we are.
Ay, can't touch me like Gojo. Look good at all my photos.
Beyond that, you've got big-name bands lending out some of their biggest hits to serve as openings, a la Franz Ferdinand and Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Even the legendary Freddie Mercury's vocal talents have made an appearance in Great Pretender's outro. On the flip side, prominent Japanese singers and bands have their popularity catapulted into the stratosphere on account of their collaborations on big-name anime. Ask any anime fan with their salt and they'll know who the likes of Lisa and Creepy Nuts are. Anime aesthetics that used to be confined to fan-made shirts and con merch have broken into the fashion industry. Collaborations with brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Adidas now bring characters and visuals once relegated to posters and VHS covers into high-end designs. Now we can officially say that Gucci is technically a JoJo reference. Of course, with mainstream dominance comes Hollywood's inevitable attempt to capitalize.
Human power has failed before. As it will. Again!
Dragon Ball Evolution became infamous, while Alita Battle Angel was surprisingly fun. Netflix's Cowboy Bebop was terrible across the board, and yet their take on One Piece has become an unexpected success, even among those who worship the source material.
Nothing's gonna stand in our way! Yeah!
These adaptations reflect anime's new status, too big for Hollywood to ignore and with no sign of slowing down. Throughout the early 2020s, anime had grown into a $26 billion+ global industry. Streaming deals, merchandise, films, and conventions continue to generate massive revenue, making anime not just culturally relevant, but financially dominant, capable of going toe-to-toe with the biggest heavyweights in America's sprawling entertainment landscape. Part 5. Beyond Borders: What Anime Means Today. We now find ourselves in the middle of the 2020s, more than half a century after Astro Boy first flickered onto the US's TV screens. In that time, anime has gone from a misunderstood import to a cultural tsunami. Thousands of shows, old and new, are watched everywhere. Its quirks and artistic flares shape fashion and music, and its fandom lives across every corner of the internet. Just as Hollywood films once dominated international screens, anime has become a shared visual language for a generation raised online.
Taki-kun ga iru.
Unlike the early decades when access was limited and fandom required dedication, today anyone can dive in. Streaming platforms provide immediate access, but it goes beyond just watching.
Your darkness swallowed my son. Who decided that?
Fan art circulates endlessly on social media, fan fiction thrives on dedicated sites, cosplay has become both an art form and, in many cases, a successful career, all the while conventions continue to multiply and bring together hundreds of thousands each year. Anime fandom has become fully democratized, accessible, participatory, and powered as much by fans as by studios. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. For younger audiences, anime isn't different or weird, it's simply normal. The same way older generations might reference Star Wars, Marvel, or Disney, anime is part of the cultural DNA of Gen Z and beyond. To them, a Demon Slayer katana is as recognizable as Captain America's shield. The stigma that haunted earlier fans has all but disappeared. Perhaps most importantly, anime stands as proof of cultural homogenization. It shows how art can cross borders, how a story born in one country can become beloved in another, and how communities can form around shared narratives no matter where they begin. Anime's rise is not just about Japan's soft influence or America's hunger for the new. It's about the blending of cultures into something larger than either alone.
No. Yes.
What anime means today is more than just entertainment. It's a living example of how fandom evolves, spreads, connects, and harmonizes. From hotel basements to sold-out theaters, from grainy VHS tapes to instant global streams, anime's journey tells us that no story is ever truly too niche when it has the power to resonate across the world.
そうか。僕はこれを言いたかったんだな。ありがとう。
Anime truly has taken over America, and something tells us that's just a stepping stone.
Till we meet again, guys!